Can we trust video game reviews? Video game reviews is a big part of the gaming community. It dictates the direction of the game and how much the game is worth. It's nice knowing someone else can go and buy a product and review it to make sure that product is worth the money that you're spending. Especially with the rise in prices and AAA games from $60 to $70, video game reviews have never been so important, especially with the latest games coming out being just a buggy mess filled with microtransactions or the game just not being able to work. With that, the latest game everyone's been hyped about is Starfield. With Starfield jumping into the ring, a lot of reviews have been coming out on Starfield, and a lot of reviews have been all around about Starfield. Some people giving it a 10 out of 10, some people giving it a 7 out of 10. Now, I've played a little bit of Starfield, and giving Starfield a 10 out of 10 is a stretch, but a lot of people have been really hating on IGN for giving it a 7 out of 10. So let's look at all the reviews IGN gave Starfield. Looking at it, we see France giving it a 9 out of 10, and Japan and Spain both giving it a 10 out of 10. Roughly, out of all these scores, you can predict that Starfield is either a 9 or a 9.5 with all these scores combined. Now, let's look at what everyone else is talking about. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, which, looking at it, is a dramatic change in what everyone is giving it. I've seen some low scores. I've seen maybe a 6 out of 10. I truly think this is like the lowest anyone has given Starfield. The lowest I've honestly seen is a 7 out of 10. Now, the author of this review has been getting a lot of pushback, saying it's biased on Xbox and the person hates Xbox games and stuff like that. So Dan went on to Twitter and literally put out all the reviews that he's done on Xbox. Out of curiosity, he went back and checked the Xbox exclusive games that he reviewed, and he gave Gears Tactics an 8 versus an 80 on Metacritic, Dead Rising 3 an 8.3 versus an 87 on Metacritic, Halo Spartan Assault was a 5.8, which was a 53 on Metacritic, and State of Decay 2, which he gave it a 7.5, which was a 66 on Metacritic. So he says consistently slightly above the average that other people are giving it. In his tweet, he says, the only PlayStation exclusive things I've reviewed is PlayStation VR and Infamous First Flight, which he gave the PlayStation VR a 6 and First Flight a 7.5. And then ending off his tweet saying, basically, he's right on the money and he doesn't do too many console exclusives because he's a PC guy. Now, if you look at these comments, it's just people hating on his review on Starfield and how a 7 out of 10 is just so low. Now, you can think what you want about what Dan gave Starfield, but apparently, I don't know how long they changed, and apparently IGN has changed the way they review their games. Now, if we go to the website and actually look at what a 7 out of 10 is, it's good. Playing a good game is time well spent. Could be better, absolutely, maybe lacks in ambition, has a few technical bumps in the road, or is just too repetitive. But we can come away from it happy nonetheless. We think you will too. Which this is pretty much what people have been saying about Starfield. Yeah, there's some bugs. Yeah, it could be better. And yeah, people will have a good time playing it. Which, if you're asking me, if everyone's by the book on IGN's review scoring, shouldn't they be average, roughly close to what they are? I think a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 is dramatically far more than a 7 out of 10. It's not even close, to be honest. But I might just be a little dumb. This all goes back to the conversation in my head. Are current games changing the way we see or review games? I mean, back in the days like 2009, 2010, we had bangers after bangers after bangers, like Call of Duty, Legends of Zelda, GTA, Bully. Those eras of gaming was peak, perfect levels of gaming. You open your eyes and you look at current days, yeah, we have our fair shares of bangers here and there, like Hogwarts Legacy, God of War, stuff like that, but it hasn't been as consistently as it was back then. nowadays games are just, again, like I said in the beginning, either filled with microtransactions and a bunch of bugs and just unfinished, unpolished games, which I think now we're getting used to. It's been so normal just having a game either hyped or not even hyped at all come out with a bunch of bugs, or the game just being unfinished. It's like the normal, and I don't want that to be the normal. I want to go back to the glory days where every month we had bangers after bangers, and it sucks because I want to play a game and not have to worry about the bugs, or not have to worry about microtransactions, or again, not have to worry about if the game's even finished or not. So, I mean, just let me know what you think in the comments. What would you give Starfield? I've played a little bit. Right now, I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 like I said. Maybe an 8 or a 9. Maybe an 8.5 for me so far. I'm not even done with the story. And I've heard that the story is actually kind of bad or underwhelming once you complete it. So I'm really hoping it's not that bad, but right now I'll give it, an 8.5, 8.5. Also, let me know if these reviews have made you think twice on buying Starfield and why. I want to know everyone's opinion. I want to know what everyone is thinking about. And yeah, that's all I got. And I'll see y'all later.